There are some areas that in relationships or in business are incredibly important that you take note of. And so we're going to go with trust first. So in any relationship, you need to have levels of trust. You need to have friendship. You need to have intimacy. You need to have some shared meaning. You need to, what I mean by shared meaning is there's a goal, there's a reason why you're either with that person or you're with that project or that endeavor that you're doing. There must be something meaningful behind it, or it's superficial. And when things are superficial, we're not really dedicated, committed, focused on. And so our energy, if you think of energy as being somewhere, our energy will either be away from something or towards something. So if we're not serious about it, our energy is easily distracted or sidetracked. So we also need to have a level of constructive conflict. So what does that mean? That means whether you're in a relationship or in a business situation, that when there is a problem, you're able to go about it without blaming, finger pointing, and when I say victims, it's whether it's you or the other person or the organization. There cannot be a victim if there is to be a sound relationship. So in a sound relationship, there's no one that is a villain or a victim. You're just partners. So, you have to ask yourself, are you there for me with the other person or the organization? If they ask that question, should have no question in their mind that you are there for them. You need to be able to build trust in positive moments. So that means there are times where you can show that you're trustworthy, or the organization or the other person can show easily that they are trustworthy. So for instance, if you drop $1 on the ground and a stranger picks it up and gives it to you, you instantly feel like, wow, that was a moment that the person could have taken that dollar, but they gave it to me. So there's a lot of moments like that as example in your personal life or in your professional life that you can show someone that you are trustworthy. So you want to highlight those moments, and it doesn't mean to tell them, hey, look, I just did this for you. See, you can trust me. It's more just building by behavior and energy and taking notice of all of the good that people and organizations do for you. So even if you were betrayed by your partner, if you're past that and you're working past that, look at all of the things that your partner is doing that is very, very positive. Also, what are some skills that can be learned? Maybe you didn't learn trust growing up. Maybe you saw a lot of betrayal or a lot of neglect. Maybe your partner did, or maybe there's a lot of people in your organization that really aren't people that you think that maybe have that place in their life where they were always trustworthy or seeing trust. So how can you build skills for the organization or for your relationship? So for both of them, you can hire a therapist or a psychologist to go in and work with either the organization and team building and doing some work there, some organizational work, or with a couple, you can work on yourself, you can work with your partner, or you can work on enriching intimacy, which also will help you with skills. And you actually have to think about, emotional attunement builds trust. And so what does that mean? That means having some empathy, some sympathy, being focused, putting your phone down, looking at the other person, being there for them. In an organization, it's the same thing. Being aware of what's happening in the organization, being aware of the world. How is the organization navigating in the world? What about stocks? What about profit sharing? What is in the organization that is beyond just your job? Or if you're an entrepreneur, what is happening with your peers? Are you so focused on your own self that you're not looking at your peers? So let's look at how we can replace some of the criticisms that are often seen in relationships or in business. So you have the criticism itself, and instead of criticizing, you kind of just build into just, hey, this is happening right now. How do you feel about it? This is how I'm feeling about it. How do you feel about it? Where do you think it's coming from? Then there's also contempt. Contempt is bad because when you have contempt, you're sort of in this place of just like gritting your teeth. So if you're in contempt, you're not in a place of appreciation. So what you do to lower contempt is to start focusing on appreciation. If you're being defensive, it means you're probably not taking responsibility. So this goes with an organization or your partner or you. So think about not so much saying, see, you're not being responsible or you're not being accountable. Instead, think about why they're not. What has happened in their past or their present where they're afraid to be responsible or they're afraid to be accountable or it's painful for them to be that way. And also stonewalling. That's where someone's giving you the silent treatment, not paying attention to you. There's a level of neglect there. So if that's happening, then you need to think about how are you going to self-soothe? You need to get into a place where, yes, you should have respect from the other person or the organization, but you have to be independent enough that if they are stonewalling you, that you can kind of do it without them, that you can stay connected to them, but still feel your own self as being self-satisfying. And so when you're more independent, they have less reason to stonewall and they're less apt to. So they are some ways that you can implement some strategies and you can get to a more sound relationship and you can bring an energy level to your romantic life, to your partnerships, to your friendships, or to your business that is using the same set of skills and strategies. And so if you do that, you should feel that you shouldn't really do it in just one place or another. You should do it across the board and do it with yourself, with your fitness, with your nutrition. Everywhere you go in your life, you should have that level of bringing appreciation, responsibility, self-soothing, and a level of really having meaning in everything that you do. And so when you do that, you're going to feel more connected to yourself as well as to others, and they will feel the same way.